Hello, carnivore hunters. Today we are going to make some summer sausage. So what we have here is 12 pounds of deer meat. Originally, it's just hamburgers, so I wasn't going to have to do any grinding other than I have a bunch of pork fat here that we're going to mix in with it. And this is about 3.5 pounds. So in total, we'll have about 15 pounds of meat. And then we have our sausage stuffer. This will hold 12 pounds. And so what I've started, I've got everything prepped and ready to go here. Instead of making my own mix, I'm going with a Cabela's, what do they call this? A Hunter's Blend summer sausage. And this came with 2.5-inch casings, I think a foot or two long, I think. So, and then I have the casing soaking in hot water right here. So I'm going to set these off to the side. And so, like I said, originally I wasn't going to grind this, but since it's partially frozen, I think I will just mix the pork in to help me get that mix together a little better. And about an hour or so ago, I threw these pieces into the freezer to help. That'll just kind of help keep the bacteria levels down. So I can maybe demonstrate one of these with you, and then I'll pause so you don't have to watch the whole thing. And you'll notice I have two bowls out. First off, it's a lot of meat. Second off, I think in one of the batches, I want to add about, I want to add a little bit of heat to one of the summer sausages. So I'll probably add some of my own ingredients. Let's just open one of these up. And like I said, this is still partially frozen. So I've got my biggest grain in here, plate. I may give it a second grind to make it a little bit finer, but we'll see when we get done with this. Like I said, this is still partially frozen. Let's get the pork ready to go. So this is going to wind up being about an 80-20 mix. About maybe a little heavier than 20, but anyhow, we're plugged in, and then we're going to make a little noise here. Oh, by the way, if you look at this video, a couple months ago, I had done a video on sharpening your blades and your plates for these. So check that out, and we're going to find out today how well I did at sharpening those. So here goes. And of course, we're just doing hamburger. But we are doing the fat, which is softer than the hamburger. So let's see how I did. That's cutting really well, guys. I'm going to pat myself on the back and say I did a decent job. This is pork fat I got from our local supermarket. All right, carnivore hunters. So I probably will run this through one more time, but I'm going to get the rest of this cut up first, and I'll be back when that's all completed. Hey there, carnivore hunters. So I'm done grinding all 12 pounds of this meat and the fat. I had to separate. I'm finding out here I'm about due for a new meat grinder, I think. the motor was really burning. You could smell it smoking. The blades were cutting great. But I do think I'm going to put in my other plate and run this through again. It's a little thicker than I'd like it to be. So I just wanted to show you, I'm putting in this new blade. I'm going to run it through one more time and try to mix the fat and the meat together the best I can. And again, I'll hit pause here so that you don't have to watch the whole thing. I'll be back in a moment. Hey, carnivore hunters. So I finished grinding up all the meat. We've got 15 pounds combined here. I did run it through twice, and which I'm glad I did actually. When you're mixing these your seasoning in, you want to keep mixing it until you get this nice kind of tacky texture. And I got that while I was putting it through the second grind. So I've already got that. But as you can see, these are really big. So it's gonna take me quite a bit of time to blend in these seasonings. So according to this Cabela's, if you get a pre-mixed one like I did, it's going to take an entire pouch for 15 pounds. So I'm going to put 50% in each, and I'm going to start mixing it in. I wish I don't have one of those blenders with the big paddles. You can, if you did it that way, you could do it quick and easy that way. This is going to take me a little more time. So like I said, I'm just going to do about 50%, and I'm probably actually going to start with like 25% in each. And then just gradually keep adding it in as I get it mixed, so I can make sure to get the meat all over. So the first one I poured was the actual seasoning. This is the cure. So it's probably got some nitrates in it. I'm not really crazy about that. I know some people don't worry about the nitrates. I question them, but I never started paying attention until just less than a year ago when I started this whole thing. So I'm going to start blending this in, and then when I get ready to stuff the casings, which are still soaking in water here, then I'll turn the camera back on. All right, I just poured the last of it in, Carnivore Hunters. I went about 25% of the package each time, and then you just kind of fold and mix it in and stab it in, make sure that spice gets all over. And remember, I told you want the meat to be kind of tacky. I mean, you want it to kind of stick. Well, with the gloves, it's not sticking so well, but you can kind of see how tacky this has gotten. All right. I think those are pretty well mixed. So now it's time to start stuffing. Well, obviously we're going to fill up our container here. And I just want to point out, I picked this one up at Cabela's, and actually I'm going to have to change gloves, because the other thing we're going to need to do is clamp this down. All right, not going anywhere. Let's get some clean gloves on. And I think I said it at the beginning of the video, but I believe this is this will hold 12 pounds total. So I'll probably have just a little bit left over. Or maybe I measured the meat inaccurately. Yeah, it's getting close to the top now, but we're going to pack it down. So the other thing we're going to try to do is get all the air bubbles out of it. Because if you have air bubbles in it, when you smoke it, and then you let it sit in your refrigerator or your freezer or even out on the counter. When you cut into it, you're going to know you left some air in there. So yeah, that one's getting almost full. I've been dropping little scraps of this all night, and my dog is just sitting here waiting for me to drop the next one. She's eating good tonight. All right, that is almost to the top. So I think I'm going to stop right there. I'll pack it down the best I can, try to get some of that air out of there. Any air that might be in there. But this little thing here will also help us to keep air out of there. My hands are all slippery, so I'm having a hard time matching up the threads here. There we go. All right. So let's move this bowl out of the way. I'm going to grab one of our casings that's been soaking. You can see we got one side of the casing tied up already. And I have these other ones ready to go so that when the casing is full, we can tie it shut. Yeah, let me do this. Yeah. Let's just get it all the way back here. Actually, I'm going to leave this off a little bit so that we can see the meat start to come through. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it. But I will still get the rest of this on here. All right. And this is going to tell me to start stuffing. I want to turn this way. So oh, there we go. It's starting to come through the casing. So now I want to hold this just tight, but not super tight. I want it to be able to kind of freely slide out as the casing is being stuffed. So you can see that's packing on pretty tight. It's starting to move out on its own. Just take your time here. Take it really slow because, like I said, you don't want air bubbles building up inside of there. That one's feeling pretty darn tight. I think this one's going to come out really nicely. I'm just kind of letting the casing do the work as I turn this handle, and it's kind of telling me when to slow down and when to speed up. We're getting close to the end of this casing here, so that's what I want to be extra careful of because I'm going to want to kind of twist that off and tie up that end. These casings came with the kit. You can also buy them online from Amazon or LEM. They have some pretty good selections. I'm just trying to determine how much I have left at the end here. I can fit a little bit more in here, I think. All right, I think that's going to do it. All right, and then I'm just going to take some of this string to tie it off. All right, there's our first one. Hopefully, I won't have any air bubbles in here. I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to put the rest of this meat in here, get the other one stuffed, and then we'll go to the smoker. Okay, carnivore hunters, I am going to fire up the smoker. I just wanted to show you this before I fired the smoker up. All right, I am a night shift worker, if y'all remember, but here we are on the smoker. So according to Cabela's, and every recipe is going to vary, but it wants it on 120 for an hour, and then 140 for an hour with the smoke on, and then 160 for 30 minutes, and then 180 until you reach an internal temp of 156. The lowest my smoker goes is 180, so I'm just going to have to monitor this for a few hours and, we'll see how it turns out. So stay tuned, and I will be back in a bit. All right, here we go, carnivore hunters. This is the finished product. I am going to pause and cut one of these open. I'll cut this small one open. And then I'm going to let the rest of them chill overnight. I will vacuum seal them tomorrow, but we'll cut into this one and give it a taste test, and I'll let you know if the Cabela's brand is the way to go or not. So give me just 1 minute here. Okay, carnivore hunters, here we go. I've got this small one ready to go. I'm just going to cut a small end off the end here. There we go, nice and pink. It looks really good. It's really hot still. So let's just peel this paper off. Probably should have let this cool a bit before we got started on this, because the real taste tester is over here by me right now. Oh my word, that is so delicious. The Cabela brand, definitely worth it. But the real taste test is right here, but I don't want to burn her mouth. Here, let's cut this even smaller for her. Come on, Darcy. Come here. Come on. Actually, let's do it this way. All right, Miss Darcy, are you ready? It's hot. Here we go, Miss Darcy. Yep, I think she approves. If she likes it, I like it. Have a good night, y'all.